Hi everyone, we are back in the man cave of an acting teacher for another video. I hope you don't mind. I'm going to leave the jumper on today. It's a much cooler day today and it's cold in the man cave, so I'm going to keep it on. Not a new t-shirt for you today or a different t-shirt. I'll get back to that next time. So look, I had a really lovely question overnight, which I thought was an absolute clanger that I thought I'd broach today, right? And somebody, a young actor, said to me, all these videos you're putting up, they're great to watch, which is fantastic, thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying them and everything else and getting something out of them. But this particular actor said, they make me realize how little I know. Okay? And of course, that's going to be the case with everything, isn't it? So even now when we're dealing with COVID-19, I'm finding it really fascinating to read articles on COVID-19 and how it's related to SARS and MERS and the cold and the common cold and different other coronaviruses, and what the processes are for finding vaccines. And I have a brother who's a molecular biologist, and that sparks my interest as well. But of course I'm never going to have the same level of knowledge from reading articles and different sort of medical journals that my brother's going to have as a molecular biologist, and I don't expect to, right? But if I make myself aware and knowledgeable about something, then it puts me in a position to be able to at least discuss it with people who are experts, and to learn from them. So of course, when you start out in this business, you probably will have done some drama classes as you were coming up as a kid and everything else, and they're all great, don't get me wrong, they're fabulous, great for confidence and getting in and being creative as a young person and everything else. But then you get to a stage where you realize, okay, I need professional training. And when you do that, you sort of realize that maybe those drama classes kind of built up a whole lot of bad habits that you now have to get rid of because they're too demonstrative, and they for various different technical reasons don't serve the level of the work, or the kind of work rather than the level. It's not an elitist thing, it's just the kind of work, like professional film, screen acting and things like that. So when you first come up against something that you don't know an awful lot about, it happens to all of us in every field, right? We start off and we start learning the technique, right? And you can look up these kind of learning theories. They're really fun. Like we often talk about the Dunning-Kruger effect, or the valley of despair, in the applied art of acting, because a lot of actors do go through it. You don't have to go through it, but a lot of actors do. But you start learning, and as you start learning, you start to get confident, You get hugely confident because you go, oh yeah, I get this concept, I get this concept, I get that concept. And you're learning, say, Stanislavski, which is fairly straightforward, right? And you learn that, and you're going up this graph where you're becoming enormously confident. And then you get to a kind of a point where the basics is left behind and we start to move on to the really advanced stuff. And then you realize, oh my God, there is an ocean of stuff out there that I don't know, and there's a process now of learning those things and then practicing those things and applying those things, which takes time and patience and practice as well. And it's at that point that a lot of actors kind of go right into what's sometimes called the valley of despair, right? And when that happens, that's when a lot of actors give up, or they say to themselves, oh, I don't need this information anyway, I don't need this knowledge, or they just give up altogether, But if you're patient, right, and you keep on learning, what ends up happening is that when you hit that valley of despair, you get to a pretty low point, right? There is where some actors go, look, I'm going to turf it in now, right? I'm just going to, ignorance is bliss kind of thing. I'll just hang on to what I learned in drama school or in my drama courses or my beginners courses, and I'll just hang on to that and that'll do me, right? But if you push through it, right, that does turn back up, and then it starts to, instead of rising steeply, it gradually rises, right? Until eventually, my hand goes off the screen, eventually it gets to a point where you're very high up in terms of your ability, your knowledge, and your performance level, all right? And it's a nice gradual lift up until that point, right? But you kind of sometimes do have to go through that valley of despair first of all, So like anything, like I was talking about in an earlier video, a technique has varying levels of complexity. So the first third of the technique is really quite simple. Okay, I mean, I wouldn't say simplistic, but it's not overly complicated, right? And then you learn that, and that's the same with any technique, Stanislavski or Meisner or Adler or Strasberg or Jacques Lecoq or Etienne de Croo or Tadashi Suzuki or anybody, right? Or Grotowski's work. You know, it starts off fairly simple, right? And then it gets more and more complex as it goes along. So the second third is more complex, and then you're in this kind of really quite complex third stage where your work is deeply complex. Your performances are multi-layered in terms of dimensionality, and they're very impressive. Now, at some point in that, right, in this first part, there are these moments where the actor is constantly, in fact, questioning themselves, and they're saying, well, am I in the right place? Am I an actor at all? You know, am I good enough to be here in this place learning these skills anyway, right? And all this questioning goes on, right? But then at a certain point, that goes away, right? So after the Valley of Despair, if you want to call it that, there's this gradual lift, okay? And as we go through that gradual lift, the actor sort of forgets that they ever were actually asking themselves those questions. They're not even asking if they're an actor anymore. They just are an actor. It's almost like a scientist who does their degree, then does their master's, and then does their PhD. By the time they're at the PhD, they're probably looking back at when they first started going, oh, am I smart enough to be in this university, right? And now by that point, they don't even ask the question anymore. It seems like a kind of an alien world or some distant memory of the past, if they can even remember it at all. People who are at that kind of doctorate level of anything aren't going to sort of be sitting at home asking themselves, well, am I really a scientist? Yeah, it doesn't make sense that way. It's like, you know, a champion sprinter doesn't ask themselves when they're, you know, looking for their 15th medal, or am I a runner? You know, it doesn't make any sense. So once you get to that stage, you stop questioning yourself completely. Now, why am I talking about that is that when you do hit this stuff, that's when you get what we call real confidence, all right? And I talk about that in my courses as well. This is real confidence, as opposed to this confidence, right? Of, oh, look, I'm really smart because I can master these basic things, and I'm going to get out on stage and I'm going to emote and show off and all that kind of stuff, and with a lot of bluster, and I'm going to take off my shirt because I got a great six-pack or whatever the hell I'm doing, right? And all of that stuff there tends to go away as well, because that's not real confidence. Yeah, that's the confidence that's gained by vanity, okay, or ego. Yeah, and later on, the confidence to not have to validate yourself in front of me or Selena Cartmel or Steven Spielberg or literally anybody is real confidence. The confidence to say to yourself, well, those people are my colleagues. They're not up there somewhere. They're not some gods or goddesses that I need to somehow reach up to and kind of attain their level. They're your colleagues. They're the people who have the same knowledge as you or similar knowledge to you. They're people that you could quite comfortably sit down and have a cup of tea or a beer with and converse, because you've trained. You have that knowledge as well. You may not know as much as them, especially when you're young, but over the years, you know, the more you read, the more you do, the more you practice, you gain even more of that kind of knowledge, and you get this real confidence, the real confidence to not have to wake up in the morning asking yourself, am I an actor? Should I be an actor? How am I valid in this way? That's gone, that goes away. Okay, look, so that's just a quicker, a slightly shorter video today. You're not stupid, all right? At the beginning of any process, you will lack knowledge. The whole point of doing a good course is to gain that knowledge so that you can have real confidence down the track, all right? Be brave. Go out there, you know, give it a go. You only live once. Why not? Look, I hope you're all well. As always, give me a shout if you want a class or a session of some sort with me. I'm more than happy to do it. I'm doing them online. Look after your self-employed friends if you feel like doing some yoga or a singing lesson or a dance class or something like that. And people are offering them online, so make sure you do if you can. All right. Keep yourself happy. Keep yourself well, guys. I will talk to you tomorrow with another video. See ya.